Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yeah.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. This is a special one because we have the Heat and the Celtics on at the same time. So we'll probably be into like the second-ish quarter, I would say, if anything, close to halftime. So this is your other way of analyzing everything that's been going on. But what's been going on is, how have you been, Steven? What's been going up with you? Details on any Penn State information.
Um, Not a whole lot going on here. Sports taking up a lot of time. Kids are sick all the time. You know, just the standard stuff. But the kids have like 20 something more days left of the school year. So
I'm
that's
so
great
out of
though.
tune with that.
Yeah, it's great. And then it's just kind of everything calms down at that point. Penn State football related. Can you hear that?
Mhm.
Car horn? Okay. Um, So Penn State football related, the second wave of the transfer portal is underway. Um, Nothing too crazy. Oh, speaking of that though, Caleb Love
I was gonna
decommitted
bring
from
that up.
Michigan.
Yeah,
He's only committed for like a couple months.
I know.
Um,
Was he attending school?
I don't think so, not yet. So
Okay.
who knows? So we'll see where he goes. Penn State got some guys on campus now that the semester's over. They're going to start summer classes so they can start practicing and whatnot. Former Penn State running back Kevon Lee, shout out to Kevon Lee, transferred to
Shout
Mississippi
out.
State. Good landing spot for him. Hope he does well. And that's really about it. Um, Not much else going on. Um, what do we got tonight? What are we talking about?
So the topics we have on deck, currently right now, in terms of like the finance world, there's a Bitcoin conference going on. So we're gonna, of course, touch on that. Another thing is, in 2 weeks, the debt ceiling is supposed to be the topic of conversation. So I'll just give kind of my thoughts. Over there, we have to talk about the stuff that happened with Pat McAfee, because that just changes the whole landscape of sports podcasting every single day. I was watching the Orioles Angels, so we'll touch on that. And of course, we have to dive into the NBA playoffs. And I have a surprise question for Stephen at the end of all of this. So just kicking off everything, I just want to say, so we had two spaces on Monday. I had one at 4 o'clock, then I went at 10 o'clock. The funniest part about this is I was supposed to have two guests on at 4, and I explicitly said, this is who's on at 4, this is who's on at 10. The person that was supposed to be on at 4, one of them, he ends up hitting me up at like 5 or 6 saying, oh, I thought we were supposed to be on the 10 episode. I was like, no, you're supposed to be on the 4, but you could be on at the 10. Never said anything again.
Mm,
So he tried to use an excuse of, I thought I was supposed to be on this, but it really was, he wasn't going to show up for anything.
no, no,
So,
no.
but that was his way of doing it. And I was like, it's fine when you have another guest on. Whereas if it was the 10 o'clock one, I would have been pissed, because I planned just for that specific person. 10 o'clock going straight. We went to like 10:45, and then I was done after that. Like, was not trying to do much of anything else. The 4 o'clock one was cool. Something else that I'm really annoyed with. So I have a lot of these different guests on the show, and most times you end up having nice dunk by Jason Tatum. Most times when you end up having them on, you're like, oh, you get inside scoop and information. I
I'm
was
at work, but
calculating.
I gotta go get some medicine for my daughter. I'll
Oh,
be
go
back in
ahead.
like 2 or 3 minutes.
Go ahead. So what's crazy is I have all these different guests that'll be on the show, and the different ones we'll have on the show, I'm like, what the hell? Like, you're joking with me. Some of them have run up. We had like Dual Casino on the show before. I tried to get on Joe Bots, didn't work out, but they're doing stupid stuff right now. And then, had Brozos on the show, they ran up, didn't partake in them. So it's kind of various different ones you end up seeing. And then you look back. So my goal right now is, ones that I have on the show, I take more in-depth analyzation into them. And then I'm starting to end up listening back to what I am like talking to them about, instead of me just like going through the motions, talking to them, asking them questions. After that, I'm now starting to listen to what we said, just playing back the recording to understand that. So that's kind of been one big thing that we've been doing over there. Well, I have a second. I do want to just mention BRC20 tokens. This is something that I've mentioned before to people, and I just want to continue to harp on it, because Bitcoin is like the OG, the godfather, the grandfather of all different like cryptocurrencies. Everyone knows Bitcoin, but nobody's used the underlying layer the technology in terms of using it for NFTs or using it for other BRC20 tokens. We have ERC20, we have SPL tokens, we have all that, but nobody's ever used Bitcoin in that capacity. And I just think that a lot of people should start looking into that. That's kind of been one thing. Other thing is, in terms of the NFT world, we have captains that are going to be dropping their meme coin soon. So pay attention to that. Captains ran to over 9. I'm hoping I can get them under 7. If I could do a play of get them under 8 and D Gods is still in the 8 range, but D Gods doesn't have a stupid run up because Frank was talking today on his spaces and they're finishing up season 3. It's supposed to be done by the end of Q2. If we really calculate Q2, they only have till June. They only got 1 month. Frank was saying on the spaces, he's definitely been focusing on this, and that's kind of like the main thing he's trying to work on. So we'll see how that ends up going. If he ends up getting it done by the end of Q2. Other thing is, when you're on the Ethereum blockchain, it's quieter than it is normally on the like Solana. Solana, there's so much trading and intraday trading. There's not that much on Ethereum. Those are like your big whales. And the wild part about that is it's starting to move over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is starting to have that OG type of money. I also didn't know Malcolm Brogdon was in the starting lineup. That changes a lot of things over there. But is he? Oh, Marcus Smart's in the starting lineup too. Derek White was. But that's one thing. The money that's going over to Bitcoin is wild. With Bitcoin frogs, that was another one that I saw when it was at like 0.03. And I'm just going through all the different ones that I'm like, damn, should have got in. I remember when that was at like 0.026 Bitcoin, and that's around like $450. Currently, now that Bitcoin frog is sitting for $4,000. And I just watched it, like legit watched it, could have had 2, but I didn't know what it was. And that's what they always say, like sometimes you just got to go blindly into them. Well, shit, I wish I would have blindly just jumped into that one because that's like $2,000-$3,000 I could have just had, and I could have got 2 of them. So that's another thing. Going into more in-depth stuff. So Luxo is one that I bring up a lot. If you ever see me with the pink hat, it's Luxo. They have their main net that's going to be releasing on May 23rd. So that's been a big reason for the price going up. If we were to look at what the price of Luxo is right now, oh shoot, it did go up some more. It's sitting at $13, so it did have a pullback. Over if we're looking at the 14-day, it was at $15 May 5th, and then it hit a high of $16 in the 30-day back on April 18th. So we'll see what happens on May 23rd. Finally, I've been looking at this one NFT called Gomies. It's not
Homies, the homies.
like, yeah, Gomies the homies. It's not spectacular or anything like that, but I just kind of like the artwork. And I'm trying to figure out different plays that I could just stay in. My big thing is I get out of a play and get into something else, and the price ends up like dropping or doing some stupid shit. So we'll see how that goes over there. Segueing this in, because we brought up different like Bitcoin and crypto stuff. There is a Bitcoin conference that's going on in Florida. So that's been an important thing. The Bitcoin conference they have kind of every single year. And switching this over into sports, because I think there's been more that I wanted to touch on there in terms of the finance than there has been on the crypto and finance side itself. Pat McAfee, the rumors were out there. People were talking, speculating, saying he would go to ESPN. It would be stupid if he went there. Pat McAfee going to ESPN, I think, is not extremely a big deal in the sense of, oh, it's a surprise. He was already working for ESPN. So they kind of been working on some of this for a minute. But in terms of his story, from him leaving the football field to then being a writer for Barstool to then end up going on his own, betting on himself, he really paved the way for a lot of these different players that became like podcasters and things. What are your thoughts on everything that's going on? And what do you think is going to improve or change about his show?
He's pretty like it's not edgy, it's not like it's just like frat humor.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, but I don't know if all that's gonna fly on ESPN, you know?
He claims he's going to keep his same content, but I don't think you can. Something's got to change.
Something's gotta change. But I don't think it's gonna be something that's like drastic and makes the show not watchable anymore, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So but yeah, his story is dope. I mean, I think everyone our age knows who Pat McAfee is,
Hmm.
as like the badass punter from West Virginia.
Yeah.
Um, so I think like him, JJ Redick, just the guys who are on ESPN. Redick, he's doing his podcast, which is awesome. A couple of those guys have their own podcast going on and whatnot.
Yo, real
Um,
question for you about
yeah,
podcasts. I am athlete. That's not what Brandon Marshall is it?
yeah, it is.
Yo, I was going through the channels today, well, on YouTube, and Brandon Marshall wasn't even there. I assume he was like out or something. They have so many new people, and that show's not even close
Yeah.
to what it used to be. But you can keep
No,
going.
I like the pivot. Oh, dude, the pivot. I think I talked about this last week with for those who know, the pivot is with Ryan Clark, Fred Taylor, and what's your boy's name?
Shannon Crowder.
Yeah.
He
Oh man, that is
be
a
going to
goofy
all them cult looking
dude. That's
things.
a goofy motherfucker. But he's funny though. He owns it though. They had The
Yeah.
Rock on a couple weeks ago, which
Hmm.
I think like out of every podcast that's out there, um, I've never seen The Rock on a podcast. I don't think.
No,
Just like I've never seen LeBron on a podcast. Like
outside of his own.
Kobe did Knuckleheads, I think it was, with
Mm,
you know what I'm talking about, Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. He did it with
yeah.
those guys. Like I've never seen LeBron on a podcast. He does like the shop and everything, but like that's his stuff.
Hmm.
So that's different. But anyway, yeah, good for McAfee. I'm sure he's gonna do a lot of college football related stuff. He
Yeah.
has to. He'll definitely be back on College Game Day, which is dope. I also saw a rumor that Lee Corso was retiring and not
Mm,
doing like before the season. So he's not gonna be on this year, which is like it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with him now. You love him because
hmm.
he's fucking Lee Corso, but you hate him because you have no idea what he's talking about.
Nope.
Also, did you watch did you watch the whole game last night?
That game was a game.
All right,
Yes.
so we'll talk about that. But did you watch that with sound? Like, did you listen to the announcers? Yeah.
I was watching some of it with Stephen A. Smith. I won't lie.
Um, Van Gundy just goes on these tangents, man,
He does.
about just the most insane things. I had a buddy
Hmm.
over and we were watching, and we just kept like look like there was some silence, and then we'd look at each other like, "What the fuck is this man talking about?"
Hmm.
And then Mark
All the
Jackson
time.
tries to say some slick shit, like, and then Mike Green just comments on like what's happening in the. It's just they're out of control, dude. It made the game so much less enjoyable. And also, my sound cut out for like 30 minutes, which was
Oh my
brutal,
God.
dude, brutal.
Oh my gosh.
And you got like you don't know what's going on with that situation, but so about the game itself, um, what are your reactions from that performance, especially from Jokic?
You know, he's something else.
Mm-hmm.
Jokic is one of a kind. I remember all you could do was
Oh,
smile and
man,
laugh when he made that three over Anthony Davis. Like
bro,
that was just something
bro.
crazy.
Okay, can we talk about this too, real quick? Ah, those two shots by Jokic and Murray were the
Yeah.
difference in the game.
Yeah.
Like they were those that's 5 points, and the Lakers lost by six. So
Yeah.
that's a 1 point game. That changes like the timing of those two shots. That changed everything because the Lakers were be
Hmm.
like within 4 or 5, and they hit that three, and it's back to 8 or 9 or whatever. But they just man, those two shots were the difference in the game. I mean, the Lakers changed everything in the second half, and I mean, Jokic still got his got his shit done, but not to the degree he was in the first half. Now they're
They
gonna
were
do
saying that when Rui Hachimura was guarding him. Hachimura. When he was guarding him, he didn't score as much.
yeah, yeah.
So
Hachimura is his name.
yes,
Yeah, I don't know what you just said.
Hachimura.
I don't know what you just said, but
That's what happens to the DC players. I don't know how
yeah.
to say Bradley Bell.
Shout out to the homies.
Shout out.
Um, yeah, I think now they're gonna do Rui on Jokic, kind of let
Yeah.
AD roam free. They did that in the Golden State series. And it worked out pretty well. So it's gonna
Hmm.
be Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Rui, LeBron, AD. It's gonna be
That's the starting lineup.
that's what it would seem like, yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know who was starting. Who
They
started
need to
like
play Mo Bamba. I don't know what y'all are talking
his
about, but
ankle
they
is
won't.
bomb. Is
It really is. He's not even
too
like
bad.
on the list of players.
Um,
Who the heck? Tyler Hero looks like a high school kid.
He
I don't
does.
know if he just saw him,
No, he does.
but
He
he's
does.
chilling on the.
So my
Oh my
Hulu is not
god.
working on my TV on my computer. So I don't know what I don't. I'm following on the box score, but
Oh,
anyway, yeah. So I don't think Jokic is going to do that every game,
bro,
but
he went off.
he did. He did. Where was I have his numbers.
A
So
triple double,
in the
30,
playoffs right now,
20,
he's
10.
yeah. In the playoffs, he's averaging 31, 13 and a half rebounds, and 10 assists a game. That's pretty nuts.
What's
So he
crazy about that is he wasn't putting up 30 points in the regular season like that because he
no,
didn't care to. But that's how
no,
you know these
no.
players have a different level when you can end up just saying, yeah, I'm going to turn it on now.
The biggest thing is now like which other guys like do you trust? Do you trust the Lakers other guys like Rui, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves? Like I saw someone say like they're not gonna Lakers aren't gonna win unless they have like one of those guys per game go off. Rui drops
Mm-hmm.
like 25 or whatever, or something like that, or hits a bunch of threes. LeBron had a pretty solid game. He had a double double.
He did.
Um, but it wasn't like impactful. And AD had the quietest 40-point game I've ever seen in my life.
Yo, it was, and it was
he,
overshadowed by Jokic and
he,
Murray. That's
yeah,
why.
he got to like 30 at like near the end of the third quarter or something like that. Something stupid.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, AD has what, like 22, 23. Oh, no, he's got 30. Went on to 40 and 10, a couple blocks. He's got to do the same thing again.
But he
But
had to do that every single
every
game.
game. Yes, every
Yeah.
game. And the Lakers just couldn't get stops when they needed it.
No.
They just couldn't do it. And they would get it to like 10, 8, 10, 10, 8 or 9, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Nuggets will come back and hit like two threes in a row or like
Yep.
get a couple buckets. But like they got the three and I'm like, oh shit, there's like 2 minutes left of this game. Like they have a real chance of winning this game.
They were down
Um,
by like 20, and then they ended up just coming back.
and LeBron had he like at the end of the game, I don't know if you saw, I think he is when he missed the game tying three, and Jokic got it
Mm-hmm.
and got fouled. He had Jamal Murray on him. Jamal Murray had 5 fouls, and LeBron shot
Typical.
it. I mean, like I don't know if that was just like LeBron is gassed playing the altitude and playing that many minutes, or what.
He
But
played 40, I think.
yeah, again, he's
Yeah.
playing a lot of minutes. Yeah, it's I don't know.
So I
I think it
told you
probably benefits the
earlier,
Nuggets, right?
I I don't
Like
really care
I think tomorrow's a
necessarily.
must win though for the Lakers. I think they got to win tomorrow night. Have to.
I would say that, but
Nope.
then I always think about the Sacramento Golden State series. Like it was 2-2. I really think that game 3 is going to be important because there's going to be no altitude reasons. They're going to be at
Yeah.
home. If they're down 0-2 or even if it's 1-1, Denver just needs one of those. And I say that because if we're talking about who of the role players is going to need to step up, it has to be the Lakers because the Nuggets have so many that can go off for like 20, 30 points any
What's his
game.
name?
You have Gordon, Bruce Brown went on.
Had like
Yeah, I turned the
19.
game on and they're like, Bruce Brown with this. I'm like, what the hell? Bruce Brown's
But
going
that's what
off?
I'm saying. Like, do you trust guys like Bruce Brown over, you know, D'Angelo Russell or like Dennis Schroeder have a big game more consistently? I think it's like those types of guys. You know, who do you which teams other guys do you trust more? And I probably would agree with you though. The Nuggets just like they just keep
No.
rolling. But I think they need the Lakers. I think the Lakers need a bigger game from LeBron than they do AD. But I think AD still needs to put up like a 28 and 15 type of thing with like 3 or 4 blocks. Which is
Same
defense, dude.
thing.
His defense has
Yeah.
been unbelievable in the playoffs. But he's just like he's got to be the better player between him and Jokic for sure.
So same thing I've been saying. Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon are going to be kind of the X factors. One, because those are the two that are going to be guarding LeBron, but also there's no goddamn way. And I was talking to one of my friends. There's no damn way Aaron Gordon should only have one rebound through like 3 quarters or so. They're like, this man is 6'8" and you only have one rebound. And then Michael Porter Jr., if his 3 stay on, it's going to be really rough because you have him shooting threes, you have KCP shooting threes, and then Jokic shooting threes, then Murray shooting threes. Like, and they're all making at least 2 threes. It's not like they're just putting up one. But something I wanted to bring up, and it kind of separates professional athletes from either college players and anybody else that plays. If you ever saw Jamal Murray when he would drive or like he would have to do a fadeaway, most players, they'll just end up like putting up This man like holds it for a second to make sure he's at a spot, and then he'll go up with it. I'm like, damn, you're in midair making sure you're holding it enough time so that it goes in. Consistently, it would always go in.
Dude, they
And
just
it's
couldn't
just
miss last night
insane.
either. Like
No,
they
they
just got
couldn't.
bucket after bucket after bucket, and it just kept
No.
going.
And the wild part is Aaron Gordon didn't even have a good game. Like he
Yo,
just
Aaron
was
Gordon,
there.
you know who he reminds me of? You've hooped at Lifetime, right?
Yeah.
He looks like a guy that you see hooping at Lifetime Fitness. Like with all the armbands and the
Yes.
headband, like he's got the leg bands. Dude, he's like his form isn't like great, but he's like super athletic. So like, yeah, he's in the league. Yeah, we've definitely all seen those guys
Dog.
at Lifetime.
They threw it up to him one time. I forget, like they
Dude,
chucked it down the
they did it
court.
at the end of the game.
Was that at the end? You
Yeah,
remember
he
what I'm
dunked
talking about? Like
on
they chucked it
LeBron tried to
down the
yeah.
court and then they tossed it up to him real quick. And I'm
Hmm.
like, that's when you know your teammates. Like you know he's going to be able to go up and get it. It doesn't matter when you throw it up. He was like, all right, I'm gonna be ready for it.
Hmm.
So, but him, Blake Griffin, as
Blake.
they've gotten older, like their legs aren't the same. Zach LaVine, he'll still dunk with anybody. But that's kind of something I think about. The other thing, I guess we'll go into the game tonight, the Celtics Heat. And before I say that, I want to ask you, out of any player that's in the playoffs, who do you trust that can give your team a W? Like, what one player do you trust the most?
Um, Probably LeBron
Damn.
or oof. I would say Jimmy Butler's on that list, right? I would definitely say LeBron because no one else like that's in the playoffs right now, I think could do that. But I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely say Jimmy Butler's up there too. Um, Jokic, I guess, but I would say LeBron.
So if I had to choose, and if they did a playoff MVP, not like a finals MVP or anything, I'm giving it to Jimmy Butler. This man,
Yeah.
I have not seen a human just carry their team every single round. They always say Tyler Hero's out. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Udonis Haslam old. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler. Bam Adebayo can have 6 points. It doesn't matter. Jimmy Butler's going to go up. Bro, this man is going to the same spot every single time.
Yep.
And what I hate is why doesn't, like back in the day when the best player would guard the best player, why the hell is Tatum or Brown not on Jimmy Butler? You have like random players that are guarding Jimmy. He's averaging 31 points, they just said. And then on the other side of it, you have Jimmy Butler guarding Derek White. Why isn't Jimmy Butler on Jason Tatum
Yeah.
or Jalen Brown? Like you guys are resting yourselves.
Who's guarding
And
those
then
two guys right now?
so who's Pritchard at one point was guarding Jimmy Butler. I don't know how that works out.
That's yikes.
But it's Pritchard right now too. Yeah, they're
Jeez.
walking down the court and it's Pritchard. You have Brown, you have White, you have Tatum all in. But on the other flip side, if you had to say, all right, just give me one game, that's all I need, like one game for you and just go off. That 51 point game was really impressive.
So, dude, yeah. Wait, who's Butler's or Tatum's?
Tatum's.
Yeah, Tatum's. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like how that was very efficient.
it was.
Yeah. Also, what 11 assists?
Yes,
11 assists though.
I
11
know.
assists and like 5 boards, and like 2 blocks.
He's I don't like Jason Tatum at sports betting because they have like all his over unders at like 10, 11. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Like he's not a center. So I'm
No,
not
probably
thinking he's
not.
gonna get 10 rebounds. Then he's like, got 12.
His post game interview the other night was pretty solid with
Not
Cassie Hoyt,
the
and he said,
I'm great.
yeah, he's like, humbly, I'm one of the best players in the league. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, dude. Oh, but one of the best players in the world. Yeah, facts. Good call, dude.
Yes.
Good call.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Like
Kevin Love,
for
dude. Shout out to K Love. Right now, he's
I'm
got
so
seven
happy for him.
minutes, 7 minutes, 2 rebounds, and 2 turnovers.
They're gonna say some positive numbers.
Nope.
No, but
My
he said,
man.
let's go with the turnovers.
My man.
But who do you have in this series? I think we know where you want to go with the Nuggets Lakers series, but who do you have in this one?
I would probably say the Bulls, just because I trust
The
Jimmy
who?
Butler. I mean, yeah, sorry, I was thinking of
He
my
played on
bad.
the Bulls.
Yeah, sorry. The Heat. I think I'm gonna go with the
Uh,
Heat because I think I trust Jimmy Butler more than I trust Jason Tatum to be
yeah.
the best player in the 7 game series. The Jalen Brown can probably get his, but he's another guy like very inconsistent sometimes. which
Hmm.
I mean, I guess a lot of players can be like that, but um, I've also like never seen them do it. I mean, they had their run to the finals or the conference or the finals against
You
the
almost
Warriors, but
forget
like,
that they did that.
yeah, because it wasn't that great. Like,
No.
um, but I've seen Jimmy Butler do it, in the finals and like will his team to win. He hit that 40-point triple double in the bubble. Um, which by the way, like people are bringing up like the bubble talk again that it doesn't count. Or
Hmm.
like it was easy.
Yo, they
Those guys
just
are
did it again.
yeah, those guys are nuts. But anyway, yeah, I would love to see Jason Tatum take that next step and like be that guy. He's got 7 right now, 4 boards, 1 assist. So I still can't believe what he did against Philly that in game 5. Just out of nowhere. And
Yo,
the
he said,
Sixers
all
just
right, let's
stopped
turn it
playing.
on.
The Sixers
Yeah.
just stopped playing. Um,
No.
let's see what
My
else.
my thing, so with the Celtics, Heat. So I was doing like I'm in this one sports betting group, and everyone the other day was on the Brewers. So I'm making a comparison because they were all saying, "Oh, the Brewers are going to beat the Cardinals." Like every single group chat I'm in, everything on Twitter, they're all like, "Oh, we have the best play of the day. Like the Brewers are going to beat the Cardinals." I think of that the same way as the Celtics, like beating the Heat in this series. It's not that easy as people think. Like just because they have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown does not mean they're about to make it by. As long as Jimmy Butler's there, my man is. If you listen to anything that they ever said about him in Minnesota, if you ever think about anything that ever happened with him in Philly, yo, if you let Jimmy be Jimmy, he's gonna take you somewhere, and he has nothing to lose. 2 8 seeds are in the conference finals. 2 of them. Clearly something is up and people know how to play the game. It's not the old days of you want the 1 seed. It's one of those of all right, let's see like which seed is going to give us the easiest route to get there. You tell me the Heat and the Lakers both didn't think about this when they were making the playoffs.
Well, also, I think it's like the difference between like the 1 seed and the 8 seed in reality
Mm,
is not usually that big of a
no.
gap. During the regular season, yeah. But like those teams are, I think the other teams just injuries and all that kind of shit happens. But like the Lakers, like, dude, the Lakers were 10
Why
games.
is Michael Parsons is at the game? He's doing something with
From
FanDuel, but
Boston.
he has a Celtics jersey on.
Interesting. Shout out to Michael Parsons making the switch
Shout
to
out.
DN full time. Um, man, what were we talking about?
We were talking about the 1 seed and the eight
Oh
seed and the
yeah.
difference.
Like the Lakers are, I think they're better than the Nuggets. Like they're only 10 games worse than the Nuggets in the regular season. Um, the Heat obviously are just kind of snuck in, but yeah, the gap between like the ones in the 8 seeds are not that significant these
Mm-mm.
days. Because once dudes
No,
get going, like I mean, you can see the difference, but like it's not that big of a leap.
no. So the last thing I'll end up saying with this is it's not kind of how back in the day it was a big disparity between the two. It's much closer, especially in the West. Last thing I'm gonna say about all this because it really makes me mad how they keep saying, "Oh, James Harden might go to the Suns." James Harden is not gonna go back to this whole debacle and shit. Like you guys are just bringing things up because he was just with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, so they're just gonna
It
do
can
the
happen.
same thing.
It can happen.
You're just gonna do something the same thing. Now I brought that up because of draft pick wise, and I want to talk about your thoughts on the draft.
I mean, I really thought it was our year. I really thought
Someone
we had a
said
14.
we watched them win 14 games to get the five.
Dude,
To
all
get
that
the
for
five.
nothing, man. All that for nothing.
So
Um,
what do you do?
I don't know. I gotta look at the mock drafts. I'm only familiar with the top three. Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson is that his name,
Yeah,
and
they
Brandon
got
Miller from
Miller.
Alabama. Yeah, he's nice. Fifth pick is like it might as well be the 30th pick.
Dog.
the, the the
Yeah,
the talent gap isn't that is pretty steep after that.
because then they
Um,
also have the dude from Arkansas, Black, and they have a guy from Villanova, and they have a guy from Houston. I don't even remember these players in the NCAA tournament.
nope, nope, nope.
The Arkansas guy, yeah, okay, but I don't remember the Villanova guy. I don't remember the one from Houston. And Houston had a bunch of players playing, but it wasn't like someone spectacular. And then they have the two twins, I think, or the two brothers that are playing in overtime. So
It's
that's
all over
kind
the place,
of,
dude. It's all over the place. There's
yeah.
so many players.
But I also brought that up because the jersey I'm wearing. So Mbappe got to meet Victor Wembanyama. My man is huge.
Yeah.
Like he's just huge. And Mbappe is 5'10". They said. One, I didn't realize Wembanyama is 7'5". And
Seven
what
foot
he's
five.
yes. So you're telling me you're essentially Sean Bradley's height, just dribbling like a point guard.
That's just unbelievable. It's so hard to fathom that someone that big
Yeah.
can handle the rock that smooth.
Yes. Yes.
He's just like a bigger Kevin Durant. It's
Yes.
just wild to think about.
And they were
But you know, I mean, we all know damn well one ankle roll and he's done.
yo, we'll never see him again. We will
Yo,
never see
he's
him again.
done, bro. It was like Greg Oden. Once he got hurt, I thought the same thing with KD. When KD had
Uh,
like the Liz Frank injury, that usually is like a pretty significant injury to come back from. Then the Achilles, I thought that was going to blow him out too. Um,
yes.
but that he came back obviously from that, so that's pretty nuts. So it can't be
If
done
he
obviously, but like
ever
he's so big
hurts
though.
him. So
If he goes up for a dunk and lands the wrong way, yikes. It's like when AD goes down. Oh man, I cringe every time.
I think he's on the perfect team though, to try and get the most out of his talents for Popovich,
Who
because
else is on
I
that
don't
team?
really know. Keldon Johnson is another one. They had this blonde haired dude, black guy, blonde haired dude from Baylor, if you
Oh
remember
yeah, I know
him.
you're talking about
They have the other Jones, not the one that plays for Memphis, the other one, Ty
uh
or Trey, whichever one,
Trey.
probably. And then they have Malachi.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I don't know. They just have random players. And what I always hate is when they're like, yo, they got all these players now. Yo, they about to make. I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs next year.
No.
It's going to take a
Like
couple of years.
he's not gonna carry you to like 48 wins.
Yeah,
I mean, he
exactly.
might, but doubtful.
Yeah. And I also think about that because if there was any year where I would have hoped that they would have had like 4 or 5 draft picks in the first round, I would have thought the Thunder would have said, let's put all our eggs in a basket for this year. And they only have one. They had their pick, but they showed all these other years. They have like 3 or 4 first round picks, but this random year that they only have one. So that was that. My last take that I want to bring up in terms of the NBA, because I think we opened every single cabinet when it comes to this. Tatum was on the ground. But I want to talk about Ja Morant. You already know my thoughts on Memphis and everything, but what are your thoughts on the recent situation of Ja? And I don't know if you saw what happened with JJ Redick.
I did. I watched that a little bit ago. Talking about all the gun violence and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, saw that. He's had some pretty strong takes about it. I think both on his show, on his podcast, and on ESPN. Ja is it's it's kind of like a on one hand, but on the other hand type of thing. It's like on one hand, like he hasn't broken any laws, right? Like he
No.
hasn't done anything illegal. Now, do we know if that gun is registered to him? Is it like, if that's not the case, like whose is it? Like, is it registered to anyone? Like, and I don't think were they driving? Could we tell if they were driving or were they just parked? I couldn't tell.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I couldn't tell. But regardless, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. If they're driving, it's kind of worse. But anyway, and I would go down the assumption route that the gun was not loaded and the safety was on. I would love to think both those things are true. But we don't know. So like I get it, man. Like I get it. Like we all have our homies. Shout out to the homies.
Shout
Like
out.
we all have our boys that the people we used to run with back in the day, and we're still friends with some of them. We still do shenanigans with them.
Yeah.
But like if you're gonna do this shit, like you gotta tell your boys like, all right, no phones, or like just
Bro, but the thing is,
don't do it on camera.
he was holding the phone, and when he was like, shit, John, I want to do stupid shit, he tried to hide the phone. That's the wild part.
He knew. He's like, Dog, what are you doing? Like, are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
I
Like,
know.
again, like if it's registered to him, it's not loaded, safety's on. If all those things are true, He just had it in the car and just flashed it. I mean, honestly, so what I'm going to say is going to contradict what I just said, but like, but what I was trying to say. I think they should suspend him for a long time. Like JJ Redick said, 40 games isn't like that shouldn't be a thing. Like you already
Mm-hmm.
did 9, right? Or 8. You did 8. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can't do like 20 games or like
He was
25.
out like 17 days,
Yeah,
but 8 games.
like you can't do like a 15 game suspension or like 20.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take a big jump. Big jump. Like, so I think it's just what they have to do to like really prove a point. It's either like you
Mm-hmm.
do like to the All-Star break. I don't know how many games that is, like 50 or so, right? You do that, or you do 50 games flat, or the whole season.
What the hell did I just see? What
What
the
happened?
heck? So, Duncan Robinson was in midair and he was about to shoot. And I think Robert Williams was about to block it. Bam Adebayo was not looking at him. So Duncan Robinson threw it off of his back. And then he was able to get
Shot,
it back and just shot a three.
you make
I
it.
didn't see if he made it or not, but that's what just happened.
Gotta get creative. Um, but either 50 games or the whole season. Like
Mm,
I think they gotta either like go big or don't you're not either don't suspend him at all and just like fine him a shit ton of money
hmm.
or just suspend him for like the whole season.
Yeah.
It's got to be either or. You can't have like a middle ground with this one because he's done it once. He's gonna do it again.
Hmm.
The statement that he put out was obviously not zero of those words came from his mouth. It was just a PR
They
thing. Like they had to do
said,
it.
someone said it
They
was a
had to,
chat GPT.
yeah. They copied and pasted that. Um, so like he just got to just not do it again. But I would definitely bring the hammer down on him, even though he didn't do anything wrong. It's just like, why are you doing this? Like, why are
Yeah.
you potentially putting yourself at harm? You don't know if it's loaded. Dude, God forbid, he shoots someone like pulls a plexical burst.
I know.
God forbid. So I think he's just an idiot with it. Just if you're gonna do it, don't do it on camera. Do
Yeah.
it like behind the scenes. Don't put it out there. Tell your boys, like no phones. If we're rolling around, no phones, nothing. Um,
Hmm.
or stop hanging out with those homies because y'all seem to be doing dumb shit all the time.
Every single time.
All the time, dude. The dumbest shit.
So I had a couple of thoughts when it comes to this. The first one is they were saying the Cleveland Cavaliers won that draft because the first pick of the draft, you know who that was? Zion Williamson.
Yep.
Clearly that's injury. Second pick of that draft,
Ja.
John Morant. They said he has issues. Third pick, RJ
RJ
Barrett. They said he's
Barrett.
inconsistent. Fourth pick, DeAndre Hunter.
Oh yeah.
Who knows what he's doing in life?
Yeah.
The fifth pick, Darius Garland.
Oh wow. That's a hell of a top 5.
It
Man,
is.
that's
And for
wild.
only one of them to be consistently doing stuff. But when it comes to John Morant, I think that everyone knows that he's essentially, they wanted to become like the face of the NBA. His daughter, he has that loving personality on the court, but it's kind of like the off the court stuff. And I almost think they're trying to just protect him from him so that he can have like a long career. I think of it similar to if they would have done something like this to Allen Iverson, how like his agents would protect him and stuff. Like, we're just gonna keep
Fucking
this money.
didn't Gilbert Arenas get like a 60-game suspension or
He
something like that?
did because they was doing stupid shit in the
I
locker
mean
room.
I know I know there was a gun in the locker rooms. Like that's a different scope. But like
Yeah,
regardless, that should be like the precedent. Like if you fuck up with a gun, like anything with a gun, you're fucking done.
yeah.
It's like that's not like no, I'm not doing that.
So my only thing, and I will say this, two parts to it. The first part is we always say only in sports. If you brought a gun to your job,
Bro. Yeah. If my yeah, if I brought a gun to my work and I just like put on my desk, like flashing around. I'm walking through the fucking like lunch line, like at the taco
yeah.
stand, like yo, give me them tacos. Like, oh man, no, only in sports, dude.
Yeah, and that's
And if my boss saw me on Instagram, like flashing a gun like this in my
you're
car,
going to get let go.
quickly, dude, quickly,
Yes. And
quickly.
that's why I'm like, the difference between us and Ja, They're like, all right, Ja means so much. He is selling out season tickets for
Yeah,
the Grizzlies.
he's just like the
But the
next
funny
face of
part
the
about
league.
this is I was joking with someone. I said, y'all really tried to make it seem like Dylan Brooks was the issue and prayed nothing would happen. When Dylan Brooks, they said no. And he's still doing this. Dylan's like, and y'all really thought I was the problem. But I say
This
that
man,
because
Dylan
they were
Brooks.
talking to Danny Green yesterday on Stephen A's. Like, I'm realizing ESPN is trying to do this for a lot of sports because you have Peyton and Eli doing their side commentary for football games. And now Stephen A. Smith brings on different guests to his part that he has. So yesterday he had like Kendrick Perkins and Danny Green at one point, and then later on he had T.I. and one of the characters from the show Power. And so they were talking to Danny Green saying, you were in that locker room for a little bit, like, what were your thoughts? And it's something I've said over and over again. They need a vet, but he said, oh, it's great because they needed a vet in there. And I was that vet that could be in there. First off, he's sugarcoating this shit because all you need to do is ask one player, what are your thoughts on being in that locker room? That's Andre Iguodala. He didn't even want to play on that team.
No.
He said, I'm trying to get out of there. And that's what you really need to know. They're so young. Steven Adams is your vet, which is cool and all. Like,
Yeah.
he's a loving person that people like to see on TV, but he's not going to be that LeBron James or the hard-headed disciplinary person of get your shit together.
No.
This isn't like it's Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman could control himself, almost like, all right, I'll be out there, whatever. You don't know what John's gonna do with his life.
Nope.
So that's kind of the big thing. And
Ah.
the places he's bringing it, apparently, if he had it on the plane, nobody wants to say this. I'm almost positive he had it on the plane. They probably were like, let's just say someone else had it because it's Ja. If this was the last person on the bench, they're not giving him all these chances. They're going to let him go. Yes, like the Eagles dude in the Super Bowl who did the stupid shit back at home, and they tried to like bring it up. They were not going to deal with him. But if that was like Jalen Hurts, they'd be like, all right, come on, we need to figure something out. Same thing with Ja. All right, we need to figure some shit out because you can't keep doing the stupid shit. Stupid shit happens again. And I brought this up to you.
So disappointing.
His mom is even a part of the situation because stuff is happening at the mall and he's calling Ja to come handle it. And Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless was like, why are you calling your all-star son to come do a fight for you at a finish line? And then the volleyball game, why are you calling Ja to come handle this stuff?
It's so disappointing.
Yes.
Yes.
Terrible, dude. And then they're like, where's the dad? Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, dad's at the games, but who really knows? But yeah, you almost have to think, push that circle away because they're not really helping you.
You have to.
Yeah. So that was my thoughts over there on that one. I do want to bring up a question, then we'll get into what you have. So everyone knows, and like I brought this up before, I have season tickets for like 4 different teams. So I listed them all yesterday. Okay. So I'm gonna let you know all the information because I was talking to Tiana before I had a call yesterday. Shout out. And we were just actually the same question. So I have the Jaguars, the Dolphins, the Chargers, and the Ravens. Before we go into what team they're playing, which of those 4 teams do you think I sold the first tickets for?
Jags.
What's crazy is no, and I have 4 tickets for the Jags. It was not. I really sold 3 tickets to another team. They play in South Beach, Miami Dolphins. Now, here's the next part. I'm going to list the games, and which game would you guess is the game that sold the quickest? 3 sold, but this one sold probably within an hour I listed. The teams they play are the Broncos, the Giants, the Panthers, the Patriots, the Raiders, the Titans, the Cowboys, and the Bills.
Bills?
No, that's the other crazy part. The first game that sold was the Patriots and the Dolphins.
What?
And they don't even have anybody.
Like, I mean, I guess the Pats, but like, come on.
So the Patriots one sold. The one that sold for the most so far is the Giants. I don't know how this works, but I would have thought, I mean, we'll see. It's super early, but those 3 that sold.
Giants would never go down south.
Exactly. So that's one. The Giants, the Panthers sold, but they're going to sell a good amount of games on the road because it's the number 1 pick. Yeah. And then the Patriots. Then I did sell.
They don't play the Jets at home. That sucks. That'd be a good one.
No, they don't. How the hell do these schedules work?
That happens. I think you only play a certain team each year from your division, like at home or away. You don't do both.
I didn't. Oh, it is an odd number of games.
Yeah,
It's even number overall, but like it's an odd number. It's super
conference
weird
games.
because yeah, I
Yeah.
think the Chiefs and the Chargers had something like that before too. Only game I sold for the Jaguars. So the Jaguars and Dolphins have a preseason game, and
Mm,
somebody want to go like spend money on it. I was
mm.
like, if y'all want to go to a preseason game, I think you're thinking that Tyreek Hill's about to go run
Yeah.
wild, which is not going to
No.
happen in that game. But so that's all I have over there. Just wanted to bring that up. I'll give you guys updates kind of on how that goes because I'm always curious about people's mindsets and games. The one I know is going to be like the top seller is always the Steelers and the Ravens. I could list that at like $800. Someone's gonna
Facts.
buy it.
Facts.
But what you got?
Shout out to my man Mason.
Shout out.
It's 3 for 3 yesterday. In his baseball game. Three singles, if that's what you want to call it.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, so
I
that
would
was
take
cool.
those.
Our team's like getting better, like at hitting.
Mhm.
So I pitch every time. So it's hard to like because I'm like 30 feet away from these kids, maybe sometimes
Mhm.
closer, depending on the size of the field. So like I'm just trying to like lob it in there, but like put some heat on it. So like trying to consistently find the right balance. Like it's like beer pong, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing. So, but shout out to our team, Nationals,
Shout out.
getting better. We got a home
Ooh, good
game this
name.
Thursday, so big time.
This man said a home game as if every game.
Yeah. But no, we play like a certain school as like our home field.
Y'all really do that?
Yeah.
Damn,
This
that's
all this
crazy.
is all of Howard County. We're like
Wow.
this is like our area. So yeah, shout out to the little man. What
Shout
you
out.
got? Shout out.
So I have two things. I don't know what just happened. Al Horford did something. Oh, Jaylen Brown did something because the Heat must have called a timeout. But I was watching at the gym the Orioles and the Angels.
Mm.
Back in the day, people would have said nobody cares. Seeing Shohei Ohtani in Baltimore, insane. Because the game I watched, he was the pitcher, and of course he hit.
He hit a home run.
My man, yes.
A deep home run.
Yes. But
Deep.
then I also the first time saw someone hit a home run off of him. So it was kind of wild because he hit a home run, then pitching, someone hit a home run off of him. And then I think it was Frazier that got one on him. But the lineup right before him, like everyone either grounded out or struck out. And then he was the one of the few, they lost this game, but he was one of the few that ended up getting a hit. And I'm like, yo, your pitcher is the one getting a hit. Like your pitcher.
He's throwing
And
gas
most
too.
Yes.
Gas.
So that's crazy. Then on the other side, I brought this up like a year or two ago. So I saw Adley Rutschman when he was in the minors. It's wild. A professional baseball player, like when you see him, like just the
Yeah.
way it pops.
It's
And
different.
then to see him now, I'm like, damn, I got to go to see him for free. Now you got to pay dumb
Yeah.
money to go see him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of one thing. The other thing is Man City is on like this run right now. They end up they beat Real Madrid today, 4-0,
Of course they
which
did.
was crazy. Yeah. Holland is having like a hell of a year
Holland.
this year. The way they would compare him is kind of when James Harden was going off for like his scoring that one year, or when like Kobe, he leads I guess they call it the Premier League in the amount of goals, but he's just not scoring one or two. One gave me like 4 or 5 goals. So it's going off, but those are kind of my two out
Broadcasting.
there. And yeah. So other than that, until next time, we'll catch you guys with new episodes of the games. We out.
Peace.